So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Everyone's familiar with the song, right? Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson. So we have been talking about making a world that works for everyone, or creating a world that works for everyone. And last Sunday when I was sitting here, I was thinking, I go through a process when I'm writing my talks. And I formulated it in my mind, and then I put it to paper. And I was trying to figure out what the title should be. And I was sitting, I think where Miss Mary's sitting, and I looked at the board, and I saw that it said all for one, one for all, what we had been singing, our affirmation. And instantly what popped into my head was the Three Musketeers. The Three Musketeers are a great example of what we call synergy. And that's the topic that, that the Home Office has asked for us to share with you. And so what's synergy? Synergy is that the total is greater than the sum of its parts. Okay? And so when we look at synergy, we think often like if we work together, we can make something really wonderful happen. The way I'm going to look at synergy today is synergy within ourselves. That synergy that connects with that God self, so that when we understand the oneness and we understand our role and we understand who we truly are, wonderful things happen. Okay, so are you willing to take the journey with me?
Yes. Okay.
Miss Mary's like, okay. I'll see, but I'll go a little bit. So what I want to do is we're going to do a review. And for some people, it might be totally new. And for others, it might be a review. And it's all going to be great. And so the first thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to go over here to the board, so I know the camera can't see me. But it can hear me.
Uh-oh.
We're going way back.
Oh.
Is this stick?
Yep, turn it with a magnet.
Oh, I see.
Beginning.
There you go.
Wow. Well, I guess I'll use it as a pointer. Okay. So, this is the science of mind symbol. For those of you who don't know, and for those of you who have forgotten it, this is the symbol. And it means something. Okay? So, it actually, what this demonstrates is the creative process. And I'll talk about what that means in a moment. And it shows, this is the way that God creates. And since we are one with God, it shows how we create. Okay? The circle represents the continuation, the continuous nature of God, of life, of beingness. Okay? There's no beginning, no end. Okay? There's three sections here. And so it represents like the triune nature of God. And we'll talk about that. And you see the triune nature in other religions. Like in Christian religions, it's, what is it?
Father, Son, and Holy Ghost.
Yeah, the Holy Trinity, okay? And so we have what we call the triune nature, the three parts. And I'll talk about what those three parts mean in a moment. This V here represents God going into form, okay? And that will make more sense once I explain these three sections, okay? So the top section, we call that conscious mind. We'll call that spirit. We'll call that mind, just plain mind. So that's the top section. This section has volition, meaning this is the thinking part. Okay, so this is where the thoughts actually happen. This center section is often called the unconscious mind, the subconscious mind, the law, the soul. This center section has no volition, which means it does what it's told. This is where all of those habits that you have, the times when you're driving home and you don't remember how you got home because your mind is someplace else and somehow the car knows to get home. That's never Happen to anybody?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I know I was going through the bridge through the tunnel the other day, and I'm like, I do not remember going through that tunnel. So, definitely not being mindful. Okay, so that's the center section. This bottom section is the effect. This is the conditions. This is form. Okay, so to demonstrate, an easy demonstration is to use seed, soil, plant. So, the top would be the seed. Okay, there's a thought. I think Reverend Baum maybe last week talked about apple trees or something, someone did. And so if you plant an apple seed here, the thought is that you're going to get apples, right? So in the center section is the soil. Okay, so the seed goes into the soil. Now the soil doesn't say, oh, you know, he really wanted apples, or he really wanted oranges, and I'm going to do apples. The center section just does what it's told. You plant an apple seed, you're going to get an apple tree. Okay? And this bottom section is the effect. So it's the plant. So seed, soil, plant. Is that making sense to everyone? Okay. So this is the creative process. That creative process is important when we're talking about synergy. Okay? Because whereas God, this is how God creates, this is how we also create. This V also talks about there's that unity of our life with God's life. There is no separation. Now, what I want you to remember in that center section, I talked about it not being no volition. It does what it's told. But this is where, this part is where like our subconscious mind, where all that stuff that we've been thinking at some point has become, it's stored. So now you can see that why you get results that are different necessarily than what you actually wanted. Okay? So, the second piece I want to review is how a belief happens. And Reverend Vaughn talked about this last week. Want to just review. How are beliefs created? Thoughts plus emotion gives you a belief. So again, thoughts plus emotion gives you a belief. So that fleeting thought that you had of something is probably not going to get stored in that center section because there's no emotion behind it. But those thoughts that, oh God, I hate my job, which I've had, lots of emotion, lots of it. And so what gets stored? It gets stored because I think about it. I'm at work like 10 hours a day, and so, you know, something happens, and all that good stuff, not so good stuff, gets stored in that center section. So what happens is that we now decide we want to change a habit. We want something different. And so we have the thought that, oh, well, I think, you know, I'd like to be a millionaire. That sounds great. I really want to be a millionaire. But what's happened in that center section is you have stored up a whole lot of lack. A whole lot. And you haven't gone through the process of cleaning that stuff out. And so what happens is, what do you think happens at the bottom section? Does one become that millionaire? No. Yeah, right, because the universe doesn't care. So, the thing about that center section also is that it's no respecter of persons. We've heard that before. Meaning it doesn't care who you are. So when you think about it, Donald Trump, who's probably not the nicest of men, I mean, I don't know him personally, but just things that I've heard.
From his mouth.
Has no problem creating money. None whatsoever. He has the law of prosperity down. He knows, and he's lost money and gotten money back. He has, that center section doesn't care who you are. It just does what it's told. Okay? So you see how we can create something, and Reverend Michael talked about it in his reading. Okay? You know, you got to change your thinking in order to change the way your conditions are. Okay? It's important when we talk about the synergy is that we need to align with God, the spirit that's within us, and remember that it's all one life. Okay? So there's not that life over there and your life and God's life over there. It's all one. Reverend Vaughn gave us an assignment last week, and I'm sure all the people that were here did the assignment. Yes?
Absolutely.
Okay, I know I did. It was great. What's that?
I forgot.
You forgot what? You're going to get an opportunity to do it again because that's part of your assignment for this week.
Thank you.
And one of the things he did was he asked us to see everyone and everything as God. Because that's the truth. Everything is God. That person that just cut you off on the freeway, that's God. Okay? That person that has said something that wasn't quite so nice to you is God. So when you look at people as being God, our situations, our entities as being God, you got to kind of step back and like, okay, I need to change my tune. Okay? Very important. And so we're going to continue that practice of seeing everything as God. Okay, so we've talked about the creative process. We've talked about thoughts plus emotions equals what?
Fact.
Equals beliefs. It creates our beliefs. Okay? And beliefs are what creates what we're creating from. Okay? I want to talk about then, what's that?
I'm just...
You're getting it in your head. I love it, love it, love it. So I want to talk about, we have some tools that we have talked about over and over again that you can be using. And I want to check in to see if we're actually using our tools, because if we talk about wanting things to be different and not using the tools that we have for them to be different, then it's shame on us, right? Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is meditation. We went through a lovely meditation this morning. It was wonderful. How many of you are meditating on a daily basis? Wonderful. We have one person. Okay, so here's an opportunity. Meditation, why are we meditating? Why is it important? It's one of those things that just connects us with the God within. We're so busy. Nancy talked about just, busy, busy, busy. And we're busy through the day, and we need to just take a moment to step back and get out of the effect. Because we're living in the bottom part of this symbol. When you're in the effect, you're in the bottom part. But when you're in meditation and in spirit, where are you? The top. So you're connecting. We're talking about being aligned. We're talking about being in synergy. Okay, so meditation. Who's going to start meditating now? Have I convinced anybody? Well, you're going to continue. Okay. Meditation, start little. Start 5 minutes a day. Can you give 5 minutes a day? Can you give yourself 5 minutes?
Yes.
Everybody, shake your head, yes. Tell Miss Scranton what she wants to hear. Okay. Okay. Yes. My dad would talk about, I always wanted to be the teacher when I played. They were my books. Okay. Okay. So, the next tool is journaling. I'm going to come back to treatment. I know Miss Mary loves this. I did this just for her. Journaling. How many of you practice journaling?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, okay. Well, it's good to get stuff out of your body onto paper. It's really good. Because if you're having an issue and something's just bothering you and you're not seeing that person over there as God, journaling is wonderful to get it out of your body. It's a way to also to be creative, get your creative thoughts. Just allow things to unleash. So journaling, I'm offering that. How about prayer? How many of you pray every day? Okay, good. I'm loving that.
Yeah.
The type of prayer that we practice in Science of Mind is called treatment. How many of you are familiar with treatment? Okay, a little bit. Okay. So treatment, the difference between treatment and what we know as typical prayer is that we consider treatment is an affirmative prayer. It's scientific prayer because it works. It has been proven that it works. And it's not coming from a place of beseeching. It's coming from a place of knowing. Because what we talk about is I speak my word, meaning that my word is power. And I know that for all of you that have treated, there are times when you treat and you're just like in that zone. Has anybody had that experience? And you're in that zone and you're just, that's the connection point. You have connected to that inner power. And so it's in that moment that you can just say what it is and it's so. We demonstrated that by the return of my dad's truck. Because my prayer was that it be returned to him and be returned to him quickly and in good condition. Okay? And so in speaking that, it wasn't like, oh God, I really would like, if you could return my dad's truck. No power, no conviction there. Speaking my word saying the truck is now returned. There's no question, and it's not about second guessing. Now, the thing about when I was looking at the 5 steps of treatment, is everybody familiar with the 5 steps of treatment? There are those that aren't, so I will go through the 5 steps. When you look at the 5 steps of treatment, it's really about how we can live our lives. So the first step is what?
God is. Recognition.
Recognition. It's called recognition. And as Phyllis said, it's recognizing that God is all there is. And so a simple part of the prayer would be God is all that there is. Okay? The second step is unification. And unification is, what that means is that I'm one with this power. So we can really stop right there. Because if God is all that there is, and I'm one with this power, then that's it. It's done. But for us, sometimes we need a little convincing. Okay, we need to just kind of say it so that we can understand what it is. Now, the thing about prayer or treatment, who's the prayer for?
That's my question.
The individual.
It's for the person with the prayer, that has the prayer. Okay? It's not for God. God's already given us the kingdom. It's now our opportunity to take the keys and open the door. Okay? And so what this is saying when we're doing that prayer, in the treatment, it's like allowing us to just remember that we are aligned and get away from the separation. Because anything other than God is all there is and I'm one with God is separation. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Third step. What's the third step?
Realization.
Realization. So this is where people just really get into it, because this is like, I get to say what I really want. This is the stuff I want to see. So people typically have no problem with the realization part as a step. But I would hang out in the first 2 steps before going into the realization, because it's in the first 2 steps that you get to, that the manifestation actually happens. Because if you get that God is all that there is and that you're one with God, it's already done. Okay? What's the 4th step?
Gratitude.
Thank you.
Gratitude, thanksgiving. So you're giving thanks, but you're giving thanks from the place of it already being done. Not from a beseeching place and please God, and thank you, thank you, thank you. It's more of, and I know it's done and thank you. Okay? Big difference. And if we live life from that place of like, okay, this is what I want in my life. And then, and thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God, for providing this. And then the final step, real important step, and usually people just kind of speed past it, is the release. Now the release is important. Why is it important? It's important.
Because it's done.
It's done and you gotta let it go. You can't go and start digging stuff up like a lot of us do. And how do we dig it up? Worry, doubt, fear, all that is digging it up. So you gotta let it go. Think about it this way. If you were to inhale and never exhale, how long do you think life would happen for you? Okay? No, be very short.
We can try it now.
No, let's not.
Let's not.
Let's not. I'm standing up. That'd be kind of, woo. Okay, so we have to release. We have to let it go. So in looking at our symbol here, if we start digging stuff up, let's say it's a seed, soil, plant analogy, we start digging up the seed, what do you think is going to happen to that seed? Is it going to grow into this beautiful plant? No. It's going to die. So that's what happens when we say we released it, and then we go back and we start, Miss Mary, you know, I prayed for this, and I don't know if it's going to happen. An opportunity for you to pray again. Okay? And let it go. That's the wonderful thing about this, is that in each and every moment it's new, it's brand new. And so you can begin again. Okay. The other tool that I want to share with you is visioning. How many of you have visioned? Okay? Lovely. Visioning, so it's new to some people and probably a refresher for the rest of the people. There's visioning and there's visualization. There's a difference. Visualization is me saying what I want, and now seeing it, I create pictures in my head, or I might create an image board, and and seeing that and seeing it manifested already. Visioning is sitting in a place and allowing God to reveal to you what it is that you should be doing. Very different. One is me saying what I want. The other is allowing God to guide me. Both are good, but one is better and a lot easier in that when one is living the vision, stuff just comes easily. It flows. You're in the flow. And even when you hit a bump, you don't allow that to stop you. You just move full steam ahead. Now, in living one's vision, some might say it's living my life's purpose. So how many of us know our vision?
Yeah, I have one.
You had one?
Easy one.
Okay, you had one?
Yeah.
You still have it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, part one of homework is to determine what your vision is. Now, real easy. You can go into a meditation, because we're all decided, you all said you were going to meditate. I heard you. Okay? And ask God, what is God's vision for my life? What's God's vision for my career? What's God's vision for my love mate? What's God's vision for my children? What you can ask God what that vision is and allow it to come out. Okay? So that's one way. That's a way you ask the question. How many of you ask the God within questions? How many? Okay? How many of you have this conversation with God?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe sometimes. It's within you. Within you are all the answers. And when you're in that place, you're in alignment. So, find your vision. Now, the piece that is probably new, and it's something that I tried this week, and it's been phenomenal, is talk to your vision on a daily basis. talk to it, ask it, what do you need? What do you want me to do in order for me to for you to manifest? What is it? Nobody seems excited about this. I'm excited. Oh, okay. Now let me tell you what happened, because I said I've been using it this week. So I think it was last Monday, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and she suggested that I start talking to my vision. Okay? Last Sunday, Reverend Vaughn asked us to see everyone as God and be in the awe. Okay? So the awe. So I said, I'm going to do this. So seeing people as God, when I remembered, and then I had to remind myself, okay, yeah, after I, blessed them in my head, I'm like, now let me come back. And then being in the awe of stuff that just popped up. Then I start talking to my vision. Now, most of you know that, it's not a love affair between me and my job. And that I would love to have a new income channel. And so this week, 3 leads came up. Yes. And I realized, because at some point I just let it all go. And so when you're in that flow, it's lovely. Stuff just happens. I know we've all had experiences of wanting something and just being in it and knowing it for ourselves and just watching it flow. Has everybody had that experience? Has anybody not had that experience? Okay. And so that can be your experience all the time, because when you're in alignment, when you are creating the life you were meant to live, when your beliefs are in alignment with the wonderful manifestations, you can have all that you desire. It just takes a little tweak of changing your thoughts. Okay, you've heard garbage in, garbage out. And so, but this is wonderful things in, wonderful things out. Okay? So in doing this vision and living our vision and lifting it up, because once we find out what it is, it's like, ooh, okay, I'm excited. I want to do it. I want to see it. Few things just to caution you about is you got to surrender, you got to let go. That's a hard thing, because we want to hold. Okay. And I want to check and make sure it's working. And God, are you doing what you said you were going to do for me? You got to let go. And sometimes that's the hardest thing. Surrender. And so when we talk about in that bottom section, the effect, and when we talk about the release part of our treatment, we got to let it go. The other piece is to understand and see the possibilities. Because Spirit is like tapping you on the shoulders, like, Miss Mary, Reverend Vaughn, Reverend Michael, Nancy, Phyllis, Mom, Dad, Floyd. It's tapping you on your shoulder going, oh, go that way, go that way. And you're like, no, I think I'm going to go that way. You gotta listen, you gotta pay attention. Have any of you ever gotten that kind of that prompt to do something and done it? And it's like, woo! And then other times where you got the prompt and you didn't do it. And it's like, Yes. Okay, the other piece is to trust the process, trust Spirit. Now, when you trust something, does that mean you go back and question it? Does that mean that you doubt that it's going to happen? You just let it go. We trust that our breath, we're going to breathe in and out without us prompting our bodies to do it, right? Is there anybody that spends the day going, okay, I've got to breathe in, and now I got to breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. None of us do that. We just trust that it's going to happen for us. So that's the kind of trust that I'm talking about. And then the other piece is to trust yourself. You are powerful beyond your wildest dreams, beyond your wildest beliefs. You are that powerful. And you can create the life that you're choosing to live. And it's important that we do this because in order for us to create a world that works for everybody, we got to work on us. We have to get in alignment because I can't show you how to get in alignment if I can't get in alignment. If I can't be in that place. Okay, so we got a hefty week this week. We got to continue our assignment from last week, and that is what?
See God.
See.
God in everyone and everything. So for those of you that watch the news, I don't personally, but if you watch the news or read the newspaper and you get upset about something that's happening, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
We excitedly acknowledge the presence of God right there. That perhaps even our feeling of whatever is God moving us.
Yes.
In that they are calling us forward. That it is God calling us forward.
Okay. So we are going to see everyone as God this week. Everyone, everything, every entity, every news broadcast, everything. Person walking down the street, the woman that had on these little shorts and a tank top the other day. You know, I just had to look at her and I'm like, okay, get out of judgment. It's none of my business. Let her go and do her. Okay. So we're going to see everyone as God. What's the other piece that we're going to do? Be in awe. That's a wonderful place to be. And then you can just give thanks for it because, oh my God, it's just amazing. You can wake up in awe that you woke up in the morning. And as Reverend E used to say, in my right mind. You know, that's debatable sometimes. But as long as we think it's okay. What's the other piece?
Meditate every day.
Oh yeah, so there's 5 parts I didn't realize. Okay, meditation is just going to be something we're going to do.
It's a given.
It's a gift. It's something that is lifelong. It's not something that, oh well, I'm just going to do it for this week. That's a lifelong assignment. Okay, thank you, Reverend Bob. What's the other piece?
Talk to a vision. Find a
Well,
vision.
yes.
Visualization.
No, not visualization, but you can do that. But vision. Find your vision. And how are we going to find your vision?
Oh, hunting weapons.
What? Right.
Meditate
funny?
and ask prayer and ask God what is God's vision
Right.
for our life.
For your life, for whatever it is you're looking at. And then we're going to talk to our vision.
Yes.
Okay? So we got a hefty chunk. Are you up for it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I got one yes. Anybody else? Any other takers?
Yes.
Amen. I affirm it.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Anybody else?
Yes.
Okay. Nancy?
Yeah.
She's okay, she gonna put me on the spot. Okay. Miss Mary?
If I remember.
If you remember what?
Do it. So I'm not.
Can you remember one thing? At
I
least?
should. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can remember one thing.
Okay. Mom?
Yeah,
Okay. Dad?
I'm up for the count.
Yeah, okay.
You just telling me, yeah. Okay. But your eyes say,
I got it together.
Okay, you in. Good. So what's the motto? One for all and all for one. So we're now all the Musketeers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, baby.
Thank
Now collection.
That's real good.